Well, the NFL QB news never stops, and today was just another example with the franchise tag deadline being placed today at 4 o'clock. And we had a bunch of news come out, but we got to start with the New York Jets. And I want to talk to our NFL reporter for the New York Post, Ryan Dunleavy. Ryan, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, we saw the reports. Aaron Rodgers is apparently meeting face to face with a lot of the Jets brass out in California. When you saw that news, what was your initial reaction?
This is why you hire Nathaniel Hackett, right? Everybody else in the league wanted to poke fun at Nathaniel Hackett after his failed tenure with the Broncos. This is why you do it. So he can hop on that plane with you guys and say, Aaron Robert, Aaron Woody, Aaron Joe. And you have the familiar face there. Look, the Jets are all in on Aaron Rodgers. We've known that from the beginning. Losing Derek Carr yesterday as plan B only upped the ante. Because, look, there's a serious situation here where Jimmy Garoppolo ends up in Las Vegas and it's Aaron Rodgers or nothing for the Jets. It's Aaron Rodgers or Marcus Mariota. It's Aaron Rodgers or Andy Dalton. And you couldn't be on opposite ends of the spectrum. So they could honestly they have to go all in. So they might have to trade more than you would expect, considering they're the only team in the market. You might be able to say, oh, they might not even have to give up a first round pick. Well, Packers might have more leverage than you think they have. So, because I don't know who else is who else is trading for Rodgers, but who else are the Jets getting? So, I think they're all in. I think it's an important step. It reminds me of 15 years ago when they had to court Brett Favre and show him places he could hunt and convince him that New Jersey wasn't all, what you see when you land at Newark Airport. They had to convince him there was swampland. They'll have to convince Rodgers that things he likes is here, and it's a courtship, and it'll probably, I think it's going to work out. I think if you're asking me who's the week one quarterback for the Jets next year, I think it's Aaron Rodgers.
That's fascinating because that was going to be my follow-up is if you think this is going to actually get done. And it's interesting you say that there is some leverage on the Packers side, even though it does seem like it's all leaning Jets right now. My question to you, I guess, is what's that conversation going to be like with Aaron Rodgers, and how are you going to convince him? It seems like the Packers are pretty much done with him, and it's pretty much retirement, or right now maybe the Jets. Do you see that the Jets have enough in their conversations with Aaron to be like, listen, we have the pieces, we can build around you to win a Super Bowl or make that championship run? Do you see that conversation going well, and that they can convince Aaron Rodgers to actually come here to New York?
Yeah, look, I mean, Aaron Rodgers loves to be the center of attention. He loves to steal the spotlight from everybody. What better place to do that than New York? He'll lead 2003 in New York Post back pages for sure. So yeah, that part won't scare him off. The weapons, I mean, enough. I mean, you complain that you don't have any weapons in Green Bay. Well, here's Garrett Wilson, and here's Breece Hall, and here's Elijah Moore, and we got you weapons, and we're gonna get you more. They can actually pay him, which not everybody can. They can actually pay him without asking him to do a huge restructure or pay cut. He'll have to rework parts of it, but he'll get his $50-60 million. And look, here's another part of it that I think is fascinating that they should do their homework on. Will this appeal to his ego, or will this turn him off? I don't know. You don't know, but he's doing the exact same thing that Brett Favre did. He's making the exact same career path. He obviously has had a thing about living in Favre's shadow in Green Bay. It's obviously been a chip on his shoulder for 18 years. Now he's going to have the same exact second stop as Brett Favre. Is that going to turn him off as, well, now I'm just basically being Brett Favre Jr. again? Or is it going to appeal to his massive ego? I can go to New York and do what Brett couldn't do. And that's what's going to separate me. Brett couldn't take the Jets to the playoffs. I'm going to take them deep in the playoffs. And I'm going to challenge all these other young, hotshot AFC quarterbacks. And I'm going to be the guy who gets the Jets to the Super Bowl. And that's what's going to make me better than Brett. Is that going to turn on his ego or turn it off? Do your homework, find out, and make that pitch.
It's going to be fascinating how this all develops over the coming week here, because obviously free agency is approaching next week. And I feel like the Jets would probably want to have their quarterback situation settled before they head into free agency, making decisions on what players they want to keep or go after. Another thing that came out today, which was interesting in NFL news, is obviously the Baltimore Ravens could not reach a long-term extension with their quarterback, Lamar Jackson. They gave him the franchise tag, the non-exclusive tag, which means he can go negotiate with other teams now that the tag is placed on him. And I wanted to ask you this, Ryan. It's been really fascinating. There's been some news coming out from all sorts of teams and reports of they are not going to be pursuing Lamar Jackson when they probably need a quarterback in their situations. What did you make of all that news coming out today with, one, Lamar getting the franchise tag, and two, these teams all of a sudden coming out of the woodworks to say, we're not going to pursue him?
I'll take it one at a time. From the franchise tag makes a lot of sense. 2 years of negotiations, the Ravens and Lamar still can't figure out what the happy medium is. This basically allows the rest of the leagues to set it for them. This basically says, go out, you do the work, Lamar. You're your own agent. Get your contract, bring it back to us, and we'll decide if we want to give it to you. So makes a lot of sense to let the rest of the league say Lamar thinks he's worth more than the Ravens do. The Ravens think he's worth less than Lamar does. Let everybody else decide, and we'll decide then if we want to match it or want to take the 2 first-round picks. So I thought it was smart actually to do the non-exclusive tag, because the exclusive tag would have just paid him a lot of money without any real future progress towards the deal. As far as all the other teams, I think it's 5 teams that have already said no. 2 things. One, I wonder if teams would be doing that if Lamar Jackson had an agent. He doesn't. So you don't have to worry as a reporter about relationships there. Like, it's very, there's one less angle. So like, you're dealing strictly, as Eric DeCosta, the Ravens GM, said, you could say things to a player that you can say things to an agent that you might not say to a player. You could be a little more honest. So I think it's, when you remove the agent part of this, it's very fascinating. Teams are much more willing to anonymously say they're not interested in Lamar Jackson without having to hear from somebody at CAA or Athletes First or Priority or et cetera, that they have to deal with on other clients. And then secondly, it reeks of, it's not a no to Lamar Jackson. It's a no to Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, who gave a fully guaranteed contract to Deshaun Watson last year, really rankled some owners by messing with the NFL contract model. People wanted to know, is this going to be the new model for quarterbacks? Lamar Jackson clearly wants it to be. That's the reason he hasn't signed with the Ravens, is more fully guaranteed money. This strikes me as a rebuttal of, no, we're not going to let this happen. My guess is it's not actually expressed as much as it's understood. We're not going to let this happen. We're not going to start giving out fully guaranteed contracts. So this is a no to Jimmy Haslam's model more than it's a no to Lamar Jackson's ability.
So in your gut, what does this tell you? Do you think Lamar Jackson will be a Baltimore Raven next season?
Push comes to shove, I think one of those teams that supposedly isn't interested will make him a big offer, willing to give up the 2 first-round picks. Maybe it's Washington, maybe it's Carolina. Both have super aggressive owners. I think they'll offer him some sort of $50 million a year, 5-year, 250, maybe 180 to 200 million guaranteed. Then it'll be up to Lamar if he wants to sign it, and then it'll be up to the Ravens if he wants to match it. Do I think he'll get to week 1 of next year without anybody else making him an offer sheet? I don't.
Right. And my final question to wrap all of that up and all of this up is Lamar worth that ask? Not only just the contract, but those 2 first-round picks when you had to give that trade compensation?
I mean, look, let's get the obvious out of the way. No one's worth $50 million a year, right? But in the football world, is he worth? Yes, relative to, I mean, Daniel Jones just got $40 million from the Giants, right? So, yes, in that world, yes, he's worth that kind of. I mean, he's a top 5 quarterback. He should be paid like a top 5 quarterback, and that's what top 5 quarterbacks get paid. So, yes, I would. I mean, the Browns gave up a lot more than 2 first-round picks to get Deshaun Watson and to pay him a lot of money. 2 first-round picks for a quarterback is actually a bargain. Sure, you have to throw in the contract, but no, I would think in the NFL model, he's worth that.
And it's very interesting. Lamar obviously a league MVP, 26 years old, still in the prime of his career. There's a lot of aspects there when it comes to evaluating how much money you want to give him and the type of quarterback you're going to get. Like you said, he's a top 5 quarterback. Ryan, thank you.
The Jets could go after him too.
They could. Why not? If it doesn't work out with Aaron Rodgers. Ryan, thank you so much for giving us all your insight and perspective on the news and situations that are going around in the NFL, man.